So channels or tactics. So channels are all those ways in which you might send a message that will be received by another person. So it could be over coffee. It could be, say, an all employee meeting. It could be a message from your CEO. It could be small group meetings. You might think that the very best way for this information to be delivered is we're going to do a broadcast message to everybody in the company, maybe through the intranet, or maybe the head of the company, the CEO or president will send a message. But then, because the nature of whatever this is complex and it's rich, there's a lot of information. You're not, anything that is got a lot of information, as rich as an information, is not appropriate to an email or an all employee thing saying, just go read here for all the details. So maybe part of the plan is we're going to do an all employee message through some channel or another. And then we're going to recommend that every team leader have a meeting with their team, and we're going to send that team leader all the other information.
Sure.
And then we're going to rely on those team leaders to deliver that. And then in doing that, I'm like, oh, well, we're going to have to really take the team leaders, the people leaders through all this stuff. How are we going to do that? All right, well, we're going to have a series of video conference calls.
Yep.
Because we got people all across the country. So we're going to do a series of 4 video conference calls where we're going to send the package of information to the people who need it. We're going to take them through it because we need them to take their people through it. So now I've got 3 channels that I've already decided on. The all employee message coming from whatever that channel is in the organization, the meeting between HR, say, and team leads around the company to really get into a deeper dive of understanding, and then the reliance on those team leaders to hold team meetings with their people to share that information. So that's an example of what are the channels and the tactics that you're going to use. And there are all sorts of channels. And it's about figuring out what's the right channel for what our objective is.
Yeah.
For that part of the communication plan.
I would say that, around channels, depending on your organization, you might have, I think this is also a great way to partner with, if you can, like an internal communications department or somebody in communications, simply because typically corporate communications or internal communications, they hold the keys to those channels. So channels could be a corporate newsletter, could be your intranet, of course, right? Broad distribution emails, right? So usually communications is involved in those, and they have sort of I was going to say rules, guidelines.
You need to make us happy before we let you.
I'm trying to be kind, and that's another episode altogether. I promise. Yeah. But I think that's a good way to partner with your communications people, because they all the official channels. That's not to say though that you can't be creative. So again, it all depends. Again, we don't want to overcomplicate depending on whatever your project is, but there are be creative. Maybe like you said, maybe there's a video. Like if you use Yammer, like social, like internal social media networks, there's some great ways to communicate there. How do you maybe it's something that's takes over time, like a few months. Maybe you need a campaign or whatever that is, right? So think about what's the best way to, what are the channels that are best that you could use for your objective. I worked with a communications leader, and her approach was always she always cautioned us against say and spray. Don't say and spray, which meant don't use all of them. You don't have to use all of them. Yeah. Use the ones that count, go where people gather.
Yeah. And I think your suggestion, because, the purpose of this particular episode is you don't have communication support. How do you make a communication plan? But you're right. You can still have to create your own plan, but there's still a communications department.
Yeah.
And, so if I'm the comms person and I've got not nearly enough bandwidth to support everybody. So if you came to me and said, hey, we've got this thing we need to launch, can you help me do a communication plan? I'd probably go, I don't know. I don't really have the bandwidth for that. And sorry, I'm not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Or whatever those answers
I would always hate saying that. Yeah, but if that same person came to me and said, okay, I put it all down.
Yes.
This is my objective. I know these are the audiences. I know these are the key messages that I think we need to have. I think these channels, can you help me just refine what I've already got? I'd be like, I am so happy to
love you. And we would work with you all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We would.
Yeah,
we would,
for
right?
sure.
We love that.